Coming up on OU Nightly, breaking news as the Oklahoma Medical Examiner releases the cause of death in the Next Benedict case.
And we're tracking 2 risks of severe weather. I'll show you which parts of the state have the best chance of storms.
Plus, trouble for TikTok, why a favorite social media app could soon be banned in the U.S. This is OU Nightly.
Thanks for watching OU Nightly. I'm Bailey Coyle.
And I'm Kaylee Carnine. We begin tonight with breaking news surrounding the death of a Wasso teenager, Next Benedict. Next was a non-binary high school student who died one day after a fight in the Wasso High School bathroom. There was speculation that the cause of Next's death might have been related to injuries from that fight, but tonight we know, according to the state medical examiner, that that is not the case. OU Nightly's Ireland Fitzer has a copy of the report released just about an hour ago, and she's live in the newsroom with details. Ireland.
Here's the report from the chief medical examiner. It read that the cause of death for Next Benedict is suicide. Specifically, the toxicology report found an antihistamine and an antidepressant in Next's system. The report comes a little more than a month after Next died, which is the standard time in Oklahoma to get toxicology results of an autopsy. We know the medical examiner's office said several weeks ago the Next did not die from any type of injury like one sustained in a fight. I spoke to a pharmacist today who said there are still a lot of questions in this case. For example, we don't know how much of either drug the medical examiner found in Next's system. Also, there could be other information that led to this cause of death. The full autopsy report is expected in the next 10 business days, and that will reveal more details. It's also important to note the U.S. Department of Education has opened a federal investigation into this case, and Owasso Public Schools says it is reviewing the situation as well. We'll bring you information on that as it's released. Live in the newsroom, Ireland Fitzer, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Ireland. The other big story we're watching right now, the potential for severe weather.
And OU Nightly has the largest team of collegiate meteorologists watching the situation. Let's get the latest from meteorologist Braden Barton.
Currently, we have this dry line here positioned over central Oklahoma, and ahead of the dry line, we have dew points in the upper 50s to low 60s, indicative of very good surface moisture for storms. However, there are some limiting factors, and right now we are not expecting storms to develop ahead and along the dry line. But if we do get a storm or two to go, it will be moving in a very favorable environment to potentially produce some tornadoes and damaging hail. And taking a look behind the dry line now, we have extreme wildfire risk out there in western Oklahoma, including Elk City and Woodward. So be very careful out there, as a small spark can start a big fire. And finally, coming up on Maine weather, we'll talk more about that severe weather threat and fire danger, and we'll give you a few details about the upcoming temperatures this weekend. Back to you, Bailey Kaylee.
Thanks, Braden. A bill that could lead to the possible banning of the popular app TikTok passed the United States House of Representatives today. The bill focuses on ByteDance, the Chinese-based parent company, to sell the app. If they don't, then the U.S. will take action and ban TikTok in the U.S. The bill did pass the House today, with all 5 of Oklahoma's representatives voting yes. And students on campus today have varying feelings.
At least as someone who is in the news and uses it, it's like a really powerful medium for information sharing, so people will have to switch from that.
It's not like I don't care, but it's like I would prefer to have my little TikTok reels, watch Keith Lee when he pops up on there, but it is what it is.
The bill is on its way to the Senate, where it will be thoroughly examined.
The SEC, it just means more. That's the slogan. And now we know that it means some OU students will be paying more too. The OU Board of Regents has approved a 6% increase for housing and food rates this fall. That means all incoming freshmen who are required to live on campus and any other students who live in campus housing or have a meal plan will see that rate increase. OU says it will rank 10th in the SEC when it comes to cost for housing and food. President Haraz told the Regents he believes the increase keeps OU competitive in its new conference. Now, students who do live off campus and do not have a meal plan will not be affected by this rate hike.
The U.S. Attorney's Office announces new charges connected to the Kansas City Super Bowl parade shooting. OU Nightly's John Hornack has that and the rest of today's national headlines from the News Center.
Prosecutors have charged 3 men with federal gun offenses following the deadly Super Bowl parade shooting in Kansas City. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office, the charges include illegal gun trafficking and straw purchases. Court documents show that 6 people opened fire during an altercation at the rally, killing 1 and injuring more than 20 people last month. Jury deliberations are underway in the manslaughter trial of James Crumbley, the father of Ethan Crumbley, who shot and killed 4 students at his Michigan high school in 2021. James could face up to 15 years in prison if convicted. His wife was found guilty on the same charges last month. The prosecution says James is liable for gifting his son the gun used in the shooting. And the judge in the Georgia election interference case against Donald Trump has dismissed 6 charges against the former president and several of his co-defendants. The judge says that the prosecutors did not provide enough detail about the alleged crime. The partial dismissal leaves most of the racketeering indictment intact. And a rematch is set between Trump and President Biden for the November election. Both candidates received enough votes to win their party's respective nominee. Following yesterday's primaries, Bailey, Kaylee.
Thanks, John. And as Gaylord College continues the search for its new dean, candidates have begun to dive further into their plans of action if chosen. OU Nightly's Kennedy Patterson has more on one of the candidates.
That's right, we were able to sit down with the 4th dean candidate, Andrea Miller. She currently serves as the dean of the Mayborn School of Journalism at the University of North Texas, but says OU caught her attention. Along with her plans of fundraising, Miller would also like to add an associate dean of research to align with OU's Lead On University strategic plan, which is designed to make OU a top-tier research campus. Though funds and expanding the college are some of her main priorities, Miller says building relationships with everyone within Gaylord remains at the top.
There's a lot of possibilities here, and getting to know the faculty and the students and the staff, I think is key going forward for any dean that comes in, to make sure that you're serving the college as a whole in ways that they really need to grow and flourish and be successful.
We'll keep you updated as the search for the new dean continues. Reporting live in front of Gaylord College, Kennedy Patterson, OU Nightly.
It's a bird, it's a plane. It was neither of those, flying through the northeastern skies last night.
When we return, we'll tell you what exactly was flying around and where it was heading.
And floods and landslides are devastating parts of Indonesia.
We'll have more details coming up in Earth Report.
My baby's back from the West Coast.
Here are those pictures that you asked for your school project? First day of school, cute as a button.
So long ago.
Oh, here's Grandma Florence after that flood wiped out the whole neighborhood.
Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here.
I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for these disasters will make sure we're safe. And it's the best way to protect that legacy.
Those beans smell heavenly.
Give Mom a little credit.
You know what? We should make an emergency communication plan. That way we're ready this year.
Oh,
great idea.
At my dorm, we have emergency kits for earthquakes and wildfires, but I'm sure there's something more local I can send you with the link.
Okay.
Smart.
I'm coming to share with you guys.
Protect your legacy. Plan for natural disasters today. Visit ready.gov/plan.
Did you know that trash, like plastic bottles and fast food wrappers, can carry germs and bacteria? When these items are tossed in the street, they eventually find their way to a river or lake and have a negative impact on aquatic life. Keep our waters clean by putting your trash in the bin. For more information, visit bit.ly/Norman Stormwater.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Viewers from Northeast Oklahoma got a chance to see the return of a spacecraft as it returned to Earth. Emma McAndrews has the landing next in Earth Report.
Houston, we don't have a problem. The SpaceX Dragon Endurance spacecraft re-entered the atmosphere Tuesday morning, which took a direct path over northeastern Oklahoma. Crew Dragon began the 18.5-hour trip home after spending 199 days at the International Space Station. All 4 crew members appeared healthy and in good spirits. A Space One private rocket exploded seconds after launching in western Japan today. The solid fuel rocket was carrying a small government satellite. The mission's goal was to become the first Japanese company to place a satellite in orbit. Thankfully, the rocket was unmanned and the explosion didn't injure anyone on the ground. Floods and landslides in Indonesia have left 26 people dead and have impacted more than 39,000 people. Monsoon rains and rising rivers have consumed West Sumatra Island, submerging 9 districts and cities in the province. The frequent landslides and flash floods have damaged more than 37,000 houses and buildings, including 45 mosques and 25 schools. And the residents of a North Carolina county are creating a new beer out of wastewater from their local plant. Experts say the water used in the beer is clean, and some reported the beer is delicious. I won't be trying this anytime soon. Bailey and Kaylee, how about you all?
Well, Emma, I am 100% going to have to agree with you. I will not be trying that.
I'm passing.
No.
Couldn't pay me to do that one.
Yes.
No, sir.
Well, many students are traveling down south to pick their own tulips at Texas Tulips, but now there's a closer option.
When we return, see where you can pick your own tulips right here in Oklahoma.
And we are watching to see if we can get 1 or 2 storms to develop this evening before another risk of severe weather for parts of the state tomorrow. Those details coming up after the break.
I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
See, Smokey thinks I'm funny.
There's so many rewards in life. You coming into our home was one of the greatest rewards we could have ever had.
You know, it took 20 years, and I got my 3rd child, who was 17 at the time.
It's so cool to watch the adult that you've become, and you really have done as much for us as you think we've done for you.
Water is our most precious resource and something that should be conserved and used wisely. Here's a water conservation tip you can try. In the bathroom, turn off the water while you brush your teeth. You'll save about 4 gallons per minute. That comes out to about 200 gallons a week for a family of 4. Water is life. This message was brought to you by the City of Norman.
Is this time yet?
It's time.
I'm starting time for dinner.
Oh, terrific.
Donating pet food is one of the many ways you can help families in your community. Pets and people belong together. Learn more at petsandpeopletogether.org.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday. We're tracking the risk of severe weather as a marginal risk is in effect for much of central and parts of eastern Oklahoma. This is a level 1 out of 5 on our severe weather scale. But the issue is that there's a chance that no storms develop at all. There is a much greater risk for severe weather up in northeastern parts of Kansas, where a level 3 out of 5 risk is, and they're sure they're going to get storms up there today. It's just a matter of there won't be very many further south. So here's a look at current radar. Nothing going on just yet across the Central Plains, but Kansas is going to start to light up here over the next hour or so. Some snow beginning to fall in the Rockies as a major winter storm is set to take over here over the next 24 hours. And again, Oklahoma is pretty much all dry at this hour. We have been watching satellite closely because some cumulus clouds have been trying to develop just east of I-35. So far, none of these have come close to growing into storms, but we're going to keep our eye on those as we go over the next few hours. So here's a look at Futurecast. A chance for 1 or 2 storms to develop, most likely just east of I-35. They will pose a risk for large hail and damaging winds if they develop. Then overnight, a few showers possible across northern Oklahoma, but most places should stay dry tonight as well. The other big story we're watching is this red flag warning for very high fire danger across western Oklahoma. It's because of low humidity and also winds that are gusting 30 to 35 miles per hour. So extreme fire danger out there. And over the next few days, the winds will come down tomorrow. They'll go back up on Friday, but the fire weather threat is much lower due to higher humidity for the end of the week. And then another risk of severe weather as this system slides to the east tomorrow. An enhanced risk from McAllister, Muskogee down through Idabel for tomorrow afternoon and evening, but that will mostly miss us here in Norman. So here's a look at Futurecast again. Lots of snow going on in Denver. If you're trying to fly out tomorrow, it's going to be a no-go most likely. But back in Oklahoma, we'll be watching for the potential for some showers and storms to develop as we get into tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening. Look at the widespread rain across the southeastern portions of the state for Thursday afternoon. Those will again pose a severe weather risk with large hail, damaging winds, possibly a few tornadoes in the southeast part of the state tomorrow as well. But for Norman, again, it's only about a 20% chance of an isolated shower storm for tomorrow afternoon with highs that'll be pretty nice up into the upper 70s for Thursday afternoon. Then Friday, a cold front comes through, and that'll knock us back down to the low 60s. It's not cold weather, but it will be much cooler to end the week. And taking a look at your 7-day forecast, we will cool down for the end of the week and into the weekend, so mid-60s over the weekend. St. Patrick's Day on Sunday looks pretty nice with a high of 64, and then spring starts next Tuesday with 70.
Man, I can't wait for spring, and we're clear for rain right here in Norman, right?
It's looking pretty unlikely, just can't completely rule out an isolated storm tomorrow.
Well, I'm sure excited for spring to come. Thanks, Josh. And well, spring is almost here, which means tulip season is also upon us, which is personally my favorite season. And with that, I recently visited Oklahoma Tulips in Hera and talked to employees about their farm.
These are premium tulips, the best around.
Owners of Oklahoma Tulips, Jimmy and Brenda, go to Holland, the tulip capital of the world, to pick out bulbs for their farm. This season's planning process began back at the end of 2023.
We started December 10th. First, he'll do the rows. We have a machine that does them in bulk. So yeah, we just go down each row. They fall out of the machine. We cover them up with dirt, and it takes about 2 months for them to bloom.
This year, because of weather, Oklahoma Tulips opened 20 days earlier than previous years, but their biggest challenges each year are the weather and the animals.
We have electric fences, and we have ties that are colored that they don't like movement.
A unique part of Oklahoma Tulips is being able to pick your own tulips. Once you bring your tulips home, there are special instructions on how to keep them alive longer.
We recommend either putting them in cold water, putting ice cubes in your water even, that will work. They love the cold. You can put baby aspirin that's uncoated in the water, that'll help them live longer. Or if you sprinkle in just a tablespoon of sugar.
Admission into the farm is $5 and each stem you pick is $2.50. And once tulip season is over, they will plant their sunflowers for the summer.
Yeah, I'm curious, does that baby aspirin thing really work?
Oh, it totally does. I put baby aspirin in my flowers and they're still alive and looking beautiful.
Well, and OU men's basketball have their test in Kansas City for the Big 12 tournament against TCU.
OU Nightly's Ryan Smith has that and more coming up in sports.
And we've got a midweek Bedlam clash that took place last night against Oklahoma State. Did the Sooners keep up their winning ways, or did the Cowboys rope home a win? I'll have that and more coming up next in sports.
How do you know when you've made the right decision? It's the feeling you get in your gut. The one that tells you what's right or wrong. It's the one that says, sure, I can have a drink. Or the feeling that says, okay, I've been drinking. Now what? It's the voice inside you that says, I'm buzzed. Better leave the car when it's time to go. Plan ahead. Catch a sober ride. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Water is our most precious resource and something that should be conserved and used wisely. Here are some water conservation tips you can try. In the kitchen, collect the excess water you use to rinse produce and use it to water houseplants. Also, soak your pots and pans instead of letting the water run while you scrape them. Water is life. This message was brought to you by the City of Norman.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Hello, I'm Ryan Smith, and it's time for sports. After getting trampled down in Austin for their Big 12 regular season finale against Texas, OU men's basketball made their way up to Kansas City for the Big 12 tournament against TCU. But how did they get there? Well, the Sooners started off the Big 12 started off the season 12-1 in non-conference play, but have struggled to keep the ball rolling in conference play, posting an 8-10 record in their final go-around in the Big 12. And things did not go the Sooners' way in Kansas City as they fell 77-70 to the Horned Frogs. But kicking it over to the Diamond, OU softball is back to their dominant ways, run-ruling both games against Tarleton State on Tuesday night, but with a twist as Sooners southpaw Kelly Maxwell tossed her fourth no-hitter of her career during Game 1, striking out 7, and Game 2 wasn't any different with the reigning NFCA and Big 12 Player of the Week, Sydney Sanders, smacking a 3-run shot to spark a 7 spot in the first, and it was all they needed, winning in 5 innings, 12-1. And the Queen on the Diamond cements her legacy right outside of Gate 1 as the OU Board of Regents approved head coach Patty Gasso's statue outside of Love's Field on Tuesday after Athletics Director Joe Castiglione announced it at the opening ceremony for Love's Field just 2 weeks ago. But moving from Diamond to Diamond, OU baseball took on Oklahoma State in a midweek non-conference bedlam matchup, and another 7 spot in the first, this time coming from the Cowboys, put OSU in the driver's seat, and they never let it go as the Cowboys wrangle the Sooners 14-5.
It was their night, it wasn't our night, and that's baseball. The game wants you to feel sorry for yourself. That's what it wants you to do. It's a game of opportunity. You have no regrets. You got to go out and play, and you got to get after it. And it's all about your attitude, and we'll see what happens tomorrow.
And well, tomorrow turns into today with OU baseball heading down I-35 to the Lone Star State for another midweek matchup against UT Arlington before their weekend clash in Fort Worth against TCU. Heading over to the courts, OU men's tennis shut down Drake 4-0, not dropping a single match throughout the entire competition. The Sooners head east to take on Middle Tennessee State in Murfreesboro, Tennessee on Friday. Bailey, Kaylee, back to you.
Thanks, Ryan. And Bailey, listen to this. More power to you if you participate in the Powerball drawing. There hasn't been a winner in almost 3 months.
Well, coming up on OU Nightly, find out how much money a winning ticket could put in your pockets up next.
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad.
Thanks for hearing me out, bro.
Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
Did you know that trash, like plastic bottles and fast food wrappers, can carry germs and bacteria? When these items are tossed in the street, they eventually find their way to a river or lake and have a negative impact on aquatic life. Keep our waters clean by putting your trash in the bin. For more information, visit bit.ly/Norman Stormwater.
Thank you. What's wrong, mijo?
Donating to a pet's medical care can keep families together. Pets and people belong together. Learn more at petsandpeopletogether.org.
Is it time yet?
It's time.
Pump's doing time for dinner.
Oh, it's Rebecca.
Donating pet food is one of the many ways you can help families in your community. Pets and people belong together. Learn more at petsandpeopletogether.org.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you prevent wildfires.
Dude, I've got this. I've been camping since I was 5 years old.
But I am a camping influencer.
You know what? I'll bet you $5. Okay. Assistant Smokey, what is the best way to put out a campfire?
To put out a campfire, drown with water, stir, drown again. Then make sure the fire is out cold by feeling with the back of your hand.
Wait, really?
I'll take the $5.
I'm Abigail Franklin with an update on the Oklahoma Right to Human Life Act. The office of Representative Kevin West confirms that he amended the anti-abortion bill, but it will not be voted on the floor today. The amendments will have to be refiled and wait for next session to be voted on. Those include eliminating the abortion database, legalizing IUDs, and excluding IVF. At last check, West has not confirmed if he will refile. Bailey, Kaylee. Thanks for that update, Abigail. Now, if you're feeling lucky today, you'll want to listen up. The Powerball jackpot has been without a winner since New Year's Day and now stands at more than $500 million.
The winning ticket is worth an estimated $273 million, and St. Patty's Day is coming up. I mean, this could be your pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Just get your ticket before 8:59. Man, I'm racing to buy one after this, probably. That sounds too good.
Me too. Well, let's get back over to Josh for one last look at the chances of severe weather tomorrow.
Yeah, if you're leaving for spring break tomorrow and your travel plans take you east along I-40, heads up because there will be widespread showers and storms with a risk of severe weather across eastern Oklahoma. Large hail, damaging winds, a few tornadoes can't be ruled out. Here in Norman, it's only a 20% chance of rain, and then it will be cooler for the end of the week with highs in the low 60s on Friday, mid 60s for the weekend, so it is going to be a nice St. Patrick's Day. Back to you.
Thanks, Josh, and thank you for watching OU Nightly. I'm Kaylee Carnine.
And I'm Bailey Coyle. Be sure to watch OU Nightly weekdays live at 4:30. Good night.
You know you don't have to wear your PT gear anymore, right?
It's comfortable.
So how's civilian life treating you?
It's fine.
When I got out, I didn't want to admit that there was anything wrong because I felt like a failure. And then I realized, like, there's nothing to be ashamed of. So I started talking to someone. Maybe you are fine, but if you're not, it's okay.
Thank you. If you or a veteran you know needs support, don't wait. Reach out. Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Von Karman was given the simulated rank of a general, Chen a colonel. They traveled to Germany to see firsthand the technologies of the Nazi war machine. Von Karman, who had once lived, studied, and worked in Germany, was shocked by what he saw.
I was deep in a country which I had once believed was the fulcrum of world science. Now it was rubble, abandoned machinery, and dull